been studying on this Bodhipakkhya Dhamma, and we are on the second part of the fives. So second part of this, I normally divide it into three parts, the 3 fours, 2 fives, and 7 and 8. So we are on the second. And this quite interesting to investigate on that particular, the first part is called Insi, or Indriya. And it has 5 principles. It starts from faith, and then effort, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. And these five principles are, in a way, it's a ladder that confirms that how we have understood and how much we have developed the confidence in it. And then these 5 are something that is also interesting to observe, that it has something to relate to clearly, and then an effort is there, and in the meantime maintaining that, whether we manage to maintain it or not. Obviously, whatever we do, we often have this faith and a confidence. In Buddhism, there comes 2 words. One is confidence, and another one is faith. It's called a sattha and a pasatha. So it's like when we see somebody and then we feel like, yes, that's the one. Then we want to hear what he's going to say. Or sometimes we hear something that somebody has said, and that really clicks, and then, yes, that's the one. Right? Then that is the beginning, or the first ladder takes us to go into deeper and deeper. If we are fond of this particular person that's really attractive, then we will go and dig around his biography or his work, or what he's done, what he's going to do, and what are the other things. And the same with what we hear, and we think that that's really, I feel like a confidence in that. Then we dive into it. And that's how we're drawn into different theories or different concepts. And then, meantime, without we knowing it, we have already gone far away. Particularly at this time of the age, we are bombarded with so much information about this and about that. So a few years ago, before I came to the UK, few years, that means few years, okay? That's a good few years. We studied about the reasons of why there are conflict begin. And then one of the lecturer was explaining that there will be a conflict developed by information, the information that we consume. And I thought, how could it possible? And there's only your writing, and there's a newspaper, and there is a news. How could it influence someone and then can be a conflict, developing into a conflict? But now, since the COVID, people have used this internet and the social media and different platforms to spread as you wish, whatever information you want to put it on, and then you want to encourage or want to pass on this message. And sometimes we ignore, but if that similar information repeated again and again, somehow the sparkles will just go into our consciousness, and then eventually we began to accept that that's true. And then without knowing, we will be digging some information about that information and then go into it. So with that going into in this information, if we are not clever enough and if we are not wise enough, then eventually it's like indoctrinated. We become disciple. A disciple of that person, or disciple of that theory, or disciple of that concept. Then, driven by that, we are happy to do anything. Yeah? We are happy to do anything and happy to go anywhere like that. So that is called the leading factor that comes. Now the practice of a meditation is, it is good that you dig the information. When you dig the information, then you have to be mindful that how it is affecting to your physical body, to your mental state, and your relationship and your understanding. So we have to be mindful on that. So the more we practice, then gradually it helps us to recognize that the confidence that we have, the faith that we have put on to something, whether that is a real faith or not, whether that is a real confidence or not, whether it is beneficial or not, whether it is meaningful or not, makes sense or not, like that. So this investigative mind will develop from this practice of a meditation. And we will be able to check, doesn't matter what we hear, doesn't matter what we see, whenever the information comes into our consciousness, straight away we will be watching it objectively. And this objective observation of this information actually helps us to be wiser and will not be affected by those information. And that is the key here, that when we are practicing meditation, it is not just the sitting, meditating and developing the focus attention and feel wow. No, we have to think of how things are coming in, how it is affecting, and how are we dealing with that. So practice of mindfulness meditation, actually, this mind develops in that stage so that we can be mindful of these, even that subtler state of this influence that's going on into our mind. Right? So that's why the practice of a mindfulness is something that just do not take it just like a calmness of the mind or calmness of the body, but think about the things that we believe in, the things that we have a confidence on, whether that is real or not, whether that is based on reasons or based on the true benefit or not. Yeah? And that's obviously, as we practice, we have realized that even the breath, sometimes the breath that we believe we never known about it, we have known now, and then it goes on with further on that how this breath affects to our body, how this breath affects to our mind, how this breath affects to whole feelings and emotions and relationship with other things as well. So like this, gradually we can develop our understanding deeper and deeper. So that's why let's practice. So with this reflection, now let's practice meditation. So sitting in a comfortable position, relax yourself, acknowledging your presenceness here. Just feeling that you are sitting here comfortably, nothing to worry, nowhere to go. Nothing to do. That simply means you're doing nothing, just feeling that how you're sitting here. And you have seen the benefit of this sitting like this, and you have full confidence that it does help to your body, well-being of your body and well-being of your mind. So no need to think about anything, no need to plan for anything. Now if you feel that your mind is restless, agitated and still unable to feel calmness, then you may take one object to play with. The breath in your nose or in your belly. And intentionally, you're working with that. When you're intentionally working with it, you'll be mindful of that particular object. In our case, the breath. In your belly or in your nose. You become fully aware of that breath in that particular place. Let's say in your belly. Then rising, falling. So initially you may play with your breath to feel the rising and falling of abdomen, recognizing it as it rises, as it falls. Mentally you may make a note of it too. Once you become familiar, rather than thinking about it, just feel that the process, it happens. You mentally make a note each time when you feel that process. And as you settle yourself down, you will be able to check how confident are you when you're paying attention to this process of arising and falling. How confident are you that you can observe each time when it rises, when it falls? And checking and whether you manage to watch each process that takes place in its entire process, beginning, middle and the end, without losing the sight. Without talking to it. But you are mindful. Like a rising process of this abdomen, knowing the beginning, middle, and the end. And when it ends, then again, not being forgetful to notice the beginning of the falling, middle of the falling, and end of it. Similarly, when it ends, again, don't be forgetful. Knowing the beginning of the rising, middle, and end. Recognizing that the moment when you forgot, that very moment you're giving a space for something else to creep in. And maintaining that consistency of a practice, of knowing, recognizing such that's happening, rising, falling. So continue practicing.